Hey there, so today I'm in beautiful southwest Colorado. I had a work trip to deliver a bit to a rig out here in Ignacio, Colorado, which is just south of Durango. Made the trip up here, delivered the bit yesterday, which was Friday. My wife rode with me, and so we decided just to kind of hang out and do some hiking. So today we're camping just above Lemon Reservoir. And I'm hiking a trail. My wife's back at camp. She has a bum knee. She's actually having a knee replacement on Tuesday, which is 3 days from now. So anyway, I decided to come up here with my pack, get a little bit of a high altitude hike in. We're camping at about 8,500 feet. I'm hiking up the Burnt Timber Trail, and I'm going to see how it is, get a couple of miles in, up and back, so maybe about 3 or 4 miles, just to get acclimated a little bit more to the altitude, see how my body responds, make sure I stay plenty hydrated. I'll kind of go over some of the gear that I have throughout the video, try to keep it short, but just wanted to bring you all along for the trip. So let's take a hike. And I'm very quickly reminded that no matter how much training I do at sea level, there's no way to prepare for the altitude except to be in the altitude. This is my first chance to test out the Kifaru pack. It's the Kifaru Cavern with a light duplex frame, which I think the light and the ultralight are new for this year. Went ahead and got mine with the light, and it's not really heavily loaded down. I think I had 37 or 38 pounds when I left the house, but I've unloaded most of my camp stuff. I put a few extra things in there just to add some weight, but I think I'm probably running about, I don't know, 25 pounds right now. Didn't want to go too heavy for this hike. I mainly just wanted to get out and explore a little bit. So the pack's handling it well, the frame's handling it well. You know, nothing too heavy. It's comfortable. Hadn't found any spots that are bothering me yet. So I'm gonna do a preview of the pack sometime between now and the time we make our trip at the end of August or first part of September. But for right now, I just wanted to kind of get out here with it and get a little bit of a test run with it. We've got my DD tarp and my sleep system set up back at our camp, and I'll kind of go through that. I'm experimenting with a couple of different pitches, and I'll go over that when we get back to camp. Kind of show you some of the things that we went over in the sleep system video, expanded out, so you'll be able to get a better look at it. Anyway, continue on. Also making sure that I stay hydrated on this trip. I think that was one of my biggest problems on the last one. So brought plenty of water, a little bit of Gatorade, some Gatorade powder. It's been threatening to rain. So far it hadn't. I had some really good storms yesterday, which is part of the reason we didn't come out and hike and camp last night. But we decided to go ahead, and it'll be a good chance to test our gear if it rains again this afternoon. So far it's held off. Heard a little bit of thunder. No rain so far. I have a honey stinger pack. About an hour and a half into the trip, the hike. Not going to go much further. I told my wife I'd be back in about 3 or 4 hours, so probably not going to go very much further. I'm going to enjoy this honey stinger waffle, refuel a little bit, maybe hike a little more ways up, and then turn back around and head back to camp. I just ran into a guy on some horses and chatted with him for a little bit. He's apparently got some sheep permits to hunt up here later, so I guess he's doing some scouting or maybe caching some stuff up here. He had the horses bringing them back out, so first person I've encountered so far on the trail. Alright, so I reached the ridge up the ways a little bit. I'm about 2.8 miles in. The highest elevation that I showed was 10,200 feet. I'm not sure what the total elevation change was. I'll check that when I get back down and report that. I can't remember where I was when I started. The main thing that I wanted to do on the hike is check conditioning physical wise. Strength wise I feel great. Legs are fine, back's fine, not having any kind of issues with my legs, calf, feet, anything like that, so I feel pretty good about that. Lungs, probably a little bit different story. There were a couple of climbs where I was definitely sucking wind. Actually I felt like the beginning of the trailhead, which was lower elevation, I was really breathing hard. I could feel it. My heart was racing pretty fast. I was gasping or breathing heavy anyway, and I feel actually I just did a pretty good climb back up here to get to that ridge, and I felt like it, you know, I did that fine. I don't know if it was just a acclimation thing and I got acclimated or used to it, but I felt a little bit better coming up there. You know, overall I feel pretty good. I still got another 4 or 5 weeks of conditioning left to do back at the house, but it was good to get up here and get some training in the elevation. Really no way to train for it where I am, so any chance I get up here to get in here and do some hiking will be great. I know I'm going to be sucking wind no matter what, but that's part of the training as well, as just the mental aspect and being able to push through it. Anyway, report back when I get back down. As I said, the main thing I wanted to do on this trip was check physical conditioning, but other gear that I'm running, not so much as a test, but just other gear that I have on, in addition to the pack, which I mentioned earlier. I've got an REI top. All of my camouflage tops I sent over to Mary to take to have TexasBoner.com logos embroidered on them. I'm running the corrugate guide pants. They've done well. Got my Solomon boots. No issues at all, going up or down. Darn tough socks. Again, no issues, no hot spots, no rubs. Nothing that I can think of that's caused any issues. Wool X boxers. I've got the wool boxers on. Got the Garmin InReach. I won't pull it off, but I've got it, and I've got it Bluetooth to my phone. I'm using the Earthmate app to kind of, not necessarily as navigation, but as kind of to show the track. On the video that I did with the Garmin InReach, I want to mention that is we talked about for peace of mind and security for the wife. You know, when you're hunting and she's back at home, or the spouse or whatever. This is another example where the wife and I are actually together. We're camping, but there is no service even at our campsite. Don't have any kind of signal service, any of that thing, and we got 2 kids back at the house, and so they're able to take care of themselves. But in an emergency, if they need to get in touch with us, or if we need to send them a message, it's nice to have that capability. Alright, so I'm back at the trailhead. Made pretty good time coming back. Felt a little bit more strain, muscular strain on the quads and the hips on the way down than I did on the way up. But lungs, cardio wise, it was a breeze. So obviously much more taxing going up on the cardio side of things. So looks like I did a little over 5 miles. I've still got a, I don't know, quarter mile or a little more to get back to camp. So I'll report back when I get to camp. Alright, so hike complete. Here's the stats. Distance 5.37 miles. Let's see, elevation, I'm currently at 8240, so 1,800 foot elevation gain. Difference, feel really good. One thing I did is stayed hydrated. I know last time when I got up that high, I actually got up to 9,600 feet. By the time I made it back down to camp, I was worn out, lethargic, tired, and didn't want to have anything to do with eating. I did make myself eat, and then I threw that up. Right now I'm starving. I think that's a good sign. Jeanette started a fire. Thank you, sweetheart. Got to be careful with fires around here, but we do have a fire ring.
They came by and told me.
Perfect. And then we're gonna make, we're gonna break out the jet boil and make some dehydrated meals, home dehydrated meals.
I cannot wait to taste them.
So I've got some chowder, I've got some shepherd's pie, I got some chili, so we'll have a selection. I also have some Mountain House if we decide to fall back to that, but I don't think we're gonna fall back to that. So anyway, we'll be right back. All right, we're gonna cheat a little bit with the picnic table. We're gonna make dinner using the jet boil. This is a micro mo. I'll review it later. Alright, so I've got some pre-packaged, this is day's meals. I didn't do a full day hike like we had anticipated, so I'm just going to pull the dinner out. And this is some home dehydrated meal, and this is chowder. I've got some dehydrated imitation crab, imitation lobster, some dehydrated smoked salmon from a pouch. I've got some corn bark, which is dehydrated cream corn. I've got some dehydrated regular corn and other vegetables. I've got some heavy cream powder, some onions and peppers. I think there's some broccoli in here, some curry, a little bit of cayenne for spice, salt, pepper. So I just kind of threw some things in. I dehydrated everything individually, and then just kind of put it all together in the package here. So I'm going to go ahead and pour it in here, let it soak in cold water. Probably I'm going to cover it up, let it soak in cold water for 10 minutes, and then we'll turn the fire on, get it to a boil, and let it sit covered for another 15 or 20 minutes to rehydrate. With most dehydrated meals, I've had decent luck just covering the food a little bit above it. With this, it's a soup, chowder, so I want a little more liquid to it. So it's up to about right there. I don't know how much that is, but we're just going to let it sit and soak for a little bit. Be right back. Okay, I'm going to fire it up. It's probably been about 10-15 minutes, I guess. We're going to go ahead and fire it up and get it to a boil. Wind shifted smoke's coming across. Oh. Maybe it'll smoke out the flies. Alright, I didn't time it from the start, but that was about probably between a minute and a minute and a half, less than a minute and a half, to come to a boil. So we got it boiling. I'm going to stir it up and let it sit for a couple of minutes. We may, for this trip anyway, go ahead and add some packaged salmon just to add a little more volume. My wife asked me if I had a bowl. I picked up one of these Fossil's bowls, which actually packs down flat in the pack. Put it in the water pouch, and then just button it up, and we have a bowl.
That's the coolest.
Fossil's. I'm going to put a little bit of packaged salmon in it. Split that up between the wife and me. Add a little more volume. We'll get one meal out of this. Stir it up. Smoked salmon, crab, lobster, chowder. What do you think?
It's good.
That's good. Well, no coffee in the jet boil this morning. Learning experience. The fuel leaked out of it last night. I didn't close it all the way down. Fuel leaked out. I have no fuel, so it's one
One precaution I need to make sure I take on my hunt is to unscrew the canister after every cook. Or at least make sure I turn everything all the way off. I do have a backup plan for this morning for coffee though. Okay, so I went with a little bit different configuration on the tarp. Went with the, I guess it's diamond shape or plow point or several different things that you can call it. But anyway, I went ahead and did that. It gives a little bit more open up front. A lot of room up underneath there. The wife and I sat in there, slept in there. She was on one side. I was right here on the other. So you could, as you might imagine, if I did decide to go this route, leaves plenty of room for me sleeping over here, gear back over on this side. You can see I've got the Tyvek ground cloth, my Nature Hike sleeping pad, which did really well again. Sea to Summit pillow, which I think I forgot to mention in my last video. Very nice to have, but for me, it's almost a must-have to have a pillow. Make sure I get good rest. And then I have my Outdoor Vitals 20-degree Loft Tech quilt. And so that setup worked really well last night. Got decent rest, not great rest. I like this pitch, but I'll probably go back to the normal tent tarp pitch. I don't know exactly what you call it, maybe a hex tarp or something like that, but it's a little bit more enclosed. So I'll probably run that in on my hunting trip. Alright, so we got a long drive ahead of us. We've got about a 16-hour trip back. We're probably going to try to make it today. So we're going to go ahead and get everything packed up, head back home. Appreciate you joining me for the video, and as always, I look forward to seeing you on the next one.